Hi, and welcome to NullSpace. As always, I'm Scott Null, and with me, Old Man Jerry.
Hey, how's it going?
Here, you've got a guest here tonight.
Hell yeah, I do. My wonderful friend for many years, Gary McKnight.
Hello.
Gary has been with me for quite some time. He actually helped me with the Nerf War movies back in the day with the Sid N64 YouTube channel.
I don't know if I want to talk about that.
That is true. Fans for Sid N64. Jerry's been sitting here the whole time. You didn't even know.
I know. I'm the creator of all that crap, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a small world. For anybody else who isn't a fan yet of Sid N64, go watch his videos. They're hilarious.
Yeah, they're alright. Not bad. They're just basically epic home movies.
Now, you two share an interest other than simply gaming that we're going to be talking about tonight. Gary, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself real quick before we get into that?
I'm Gary.
And we'll ask you an introductory question. What's the first system you owned?
I think technically it was a Game Boy Color. First I remember would be a PlayStation 1.
Sweet. All right, you guys are actually into game development. Who wants to tell me a little bit about that?
I went to school in Minneapolis for quite some time where I met a lot of people, and then I moved back down here to finalizing game development, and I finished off with a 4-year degree, and then I already knew Gary, and then I found out he was doing a lot of coding, and then we kind of worked back and forth with these little side projects, and then now we're just kind of escalating to be our own little private indie company and kind of trying to move forward.
What's it like working with the bald man, Jerry?
Generally what happens is one of us will wake up and we'll go, I just had a stupid idea, and we'll phone the other one and be like, hey, what if we had an enemy that just shat spiders all over you? Like, I'm all for it. I'm modeling it right now.
It's like, I wanted fetuses with human hands and these weird little spider things they throw. It's like, yeah, I can do that. All through concept art immediately.
Okay, well, we'll get into the individuals and everything. We'll go through a couple of questions that Jerry has written out for me. All of them in caps, so I guess I have to yell them all. What does it mean to be an indie developer?
Fuck if I know. I guess you just, working for a major label. I mean, it's just really us two kind of dicking around, throwing around ideas, and trying to make something that we actually love. I think we both feel like one of the problem nowadays is
it's time for me.
Well, no, I meant in gaming is that they're kind of cash grabs, and they're not like a developer going, I love this idea and I need to make this. It's like my baby. It's art, and we want to get back to that, and that's why I think
absolutely, yeah,
it's good what we have, because it's not like we're not trying to make $1 billion. By all means, pay us $1 billion, but we really want to do it as an art, and we just want to throw our ideas out there and make a game we can be happy with.
Well, why don't you guys tell me a little bit about your studio?
Yeah, it's called Pixeleye. We kind of came up together, just kind of like, just sounded cool, I guess. Fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
But it's pretty like, who gives a shit? It's more about the product, really. I think when we started doing the Nerf movies, we did the 8-bit brawl, and that was kind of a cool concept idea. And then we started like, what happens if we just started making this to a video game? And we started developing that for a little bit, and didn't get very far because then we kind of tweaking the mechanics, and then it kind of pushed us over to a different video game idea, and kept on growing and growing, and like, well, this fucking doesn't work with that, and now it just exploded to this one major project that we're working on we think is pretty damn awesome. But
do you feel a lot of your humor goes into these games?
Oh God, yes.
I don't think anyone else's humor is even close to.
That's one thing I tell Gary all the time. Like when he's like telling me all these fucking shitty, crazy ideas, I'm like, nobody in my fucking right mind will I ever choose again to like that completely understands my mind as much as humor.
Now I've seen your 3D drawings, and humor is probably the furthest thing in my mind. They're all very, very good and very disturbing to my old lady sensibilities.
Oh, okay. That's my work is pretty dark and
They are very dark, which is kind of fun to know that it's that kind of humor going into it.
we kind of looked at it like it's the internet throwing up in our head.
I think a lot of the humor is less that the game is funny. It's really a kind of a horror game.
It is very much a horror game.
The humor is watching someone play the game and just giggling. It's like it's spider shit. You walk in the room and it's like, what is it?
Oh God!
Are these spiders? No, the skeletons with spider hands.
Now I understand, Jerry, you already said you didn't want to give too much up of this game just yet, so we're going to skip talking about your actual project, and we'll just talk about the studio, the company, the actual art of game development here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Forgive me for calling it such, but
no, like we don't like talking too much, but we don't like giving away too much of the premise. We're still working on it, but we have a solid idea of what this is, and we want to move forward. We don't want anybody, taking it away from us. It's our baby, and we want to make sure we nurse it properly.
So how long have you been doing this?
The game itself, or just together, working together?
You wrote the question.
Fuck you. You asked me to work the questions. So I'm like, all right, it's the best I can do. I found them on the internet. Me and Gary, we've been working on together, at least for like the stupid movie videos, at least 10 years now.
Yeah, it'd be about 10 years.
10 years we work on these stupid little videos. And they were just videos of just for us to have fun. And of course, we're trying to keep that into the game development itself just for us to have fun. And if there's an audience, that's more than fucking welcomed, of course.
Gee, that seems familiar. Welcome to NullSpace.
Fucking Begakin.
Fucking Begakin. Okay.
I think for the gaming aspect, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, we've had a lot of not finished projects, but like I said, each project kind of meets a marker and then develops to something else.
The duties of developing a game. How do you guys split it? Who does what?
We kind of try to split it down the middle, but we know what our strong suit is. I am pretty talented in art design and modeling, while Gary is very fucking talented in coding. I cannot understand any of the physics in his head or what the fuck he does.
And I can't model for dick. I don't know what you're doing. I swear to God, I watch you, and it's like you're a machine. You're just like, oh, I just need to click and then you stop, and the model just disappears, and it's like Matrix code, and you just start typing numbers, and your eyes roll back. What are you doing? And then all of a sudden, there's a horror toaster that pops out hands. I don't.
But no, Gary is insanely talented with the coding, and he does dabble with the animation a little bit. He's been trying to show me this is over here is pretty good. I haven't dabbled with what the fuck Blender was supposed to be pretty good with the animation. I haven't dabbled with that yet, so I'm gonna have to stick my teeth into that.
That I picked it pretty easy.
Yeah, we can talk about more software later, but yeah, Gary does more of the coding. I'm more of the art design, and I do models, and we kind of split down the middle with the level design because we talk back and forth. All right, the player's going here. How is this gonna interact with the enemies over here? So me and him do have,
I think the best way to put it would be we blend our ideas, we just mix our humor, and then you make that happen from a visual standpoint, and I try to make it happen from a mechanical standpoint.
Gary is the bones. It's without the bones, the game falls apart. I'm more of the skin. I make it look good.
Here's a stupid question for you. How long
Jerry
is it?
wrote it.
Yeah. This is my stupid question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See, the best part about being the interviewer is I can hide behind the guise of, I really know the answer to this. I'm asking for you, the listener. When really I'm the idiot who wants to know, how long does it take to make a game?
Fuck, long ass time.
Well, that depends on how you're asking. From a coding standpoint, technically, I have a publishable game. If we threw the assets in right now, technically we could throw out a Sonic 06 and call it a game.
Mm-hmm. It would look horrible.
We are going to rag on Sonic 06 and every
it is a very, very...
But, and that took maybe 4 months for the bare bones stuff. That was kind of when I was new to the engine and that particular language, and I need to go back and fix stuff because it's terrible. It is an awful mess.
I remember, the AI... you have
Special edition AI teleports inside you and flails wildly.
Good God.
Yeah, the thing was like running around in circles, like, I'm like, holy shit, what is it doing? Like, well, it's looking at you and not looking at you at the same time. So it's figuring out where
Quantum
you are.
AI.
Yeah, you're all like, why is it doing that? I don't actually know. I've read the code 3 times. It doesn't matter what I change. It's a ghost.
There's these times too where the fuck ups are so bad. I'm like, no, you can leave that. You're keeping that in the game. It's so fucked up.
Kind of like a creeper from wasn't that initially a screw up? Was the creeper?
Yeah, I think so.
That was supposed to be a pig, I think.
Unfortunately, that's half our game because we were like just dicking around most of the time.
Hey, that's when the coolest shit happens.
It
You have a
does.
ghost in the machine and you just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
You're like, is there blood splatter? Sometimes. Don't we kind of need that? Well, I mean, if you're real close to the wall and you shoot it at the right angle, sometimes the blood will show up at the right color.
I remember the bullets kept on ricocheting weird places. Like
Okay.
the build that you sent me,
yeah.
the bullets were bouncing off the wall like a bouncy ball. It's like doom, 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 doom. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'll take that. I'm like, no, leave that in. That's stupid. I like that. Like, why would the fuck would that even be there?
The water.
Oh,
How did you get the swimming animation? Well, I have it rigged up. You're in a collision box, and when you move, there's an invisible wall that goes up and down. That's the most half-assed. How does this ladder work? You have to look straight up and don't hit any keys. If you get up at the right angle, you'll never stop floating up. There's no ceiling, so you'll never die.
I've heard that ladders are the absolute bane of any coder.
Oh, they're garbage.
There's a lot of things that we take too is Valve, because I know like you took apart a lot of Valve's games and looking behind the doors and stuff, and like they were just all half-assed developed and
I
shit.
love Valve.
I
just
love Valve
because
so much.
Everything is just so reused, and I used to develop maps for Valve, and that because I really like game design, level design. And that's how I got my reputation of half-assing everything. It's like, how'd you make this elevator? It's really good. Well, it's only good because there's only 2 people in the map and only 1 person near it, and it's made of doors and buttons. It gets stuck a lot. One time it floated out of the level. Here's the reset button. It opens and closes 5 doors 10 times. It should put it back to the original position. I got crushed in the door. Yeah, I forgot to take off the damage. Oops.
So you've developed levels for other games. Have you ever modded anything?
I technically have. Like when Portal 2 came out, I was like really into it before they released the map maker. I was trying to get it because I just love the whole fucking thing. And I dabbled with that for a bit, and when the map maker came out, just like, wow, this is just streamlining it. It's pretty cool. But what the fuck else? I think some Super Nintendo games I try to re-get the code, and I try to reskin shit, but nothing really interesting. Nothing like Gary.
Here's a random question. What do you guys think about the games that actually, like you said with Portal, are streamlined with the level builder?
I love those. I personally do because it gives like actually even an easier person to like with no experience whatever just to go in like I really want to see this. They can see the kind of vision come to life. Time Splitters had a really fantastic level builder, and you can just rebuild all your favorite maps you used to play back in the day. Mario Maker's coming out. I'm fucking so excited for that. I can't wait for the crazy shit that people make.
That will be pretty interesting.
I mean, you got the amateurs, but you also got the professionals out there too who want to know and how to do all these cool things. So,
well, even things from Portal to Little Big Planet to where it's a lot back level design. I mean, you used to be a little more encased in what they let you do.
yeah.
And now it seems to be getting a little more free flowing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you guys ever practice ideas in a different game, possibly?
Oh, yeah. I used to use Hammer to
Hammer
map
was your
out
big
everything. I mean, I think I used Hammer to map out what one of our levels was going to look like in one of our earlier projects, the one that split between 2D and 3D.
Oh yeah, that was part of the 8-bit project.
Just because Hammer was so easy to use as a 3D modeling tool. It was fantastic.
Hammer was also tied in with the Valve and Source Engine, where it's like a level editor.
Ah, all right.
So-
that's my next question. Is
Oh,
what the hell is
sorry.
Hammer?
Yeah, we can try to explain the software here.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Let's see. What kind of games are you guys involved with right now?
Right now,
Right now, anytime, your studio. What have you guys done?
right now we're just basically working on our codename NS, I guess, right now.
Yeah,
For Nerd Stalker.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to give the full title out yet, but it's just this codename NS.
What I will tell you,
Knife Slitter.
it is a first-person shooter, and it is definitely a horror game, but it is not a traditional horror game.
Is not. There was a point where you were, because I kind of grabbed the idea. I'm like, I want something horrific, but also trying to like creepy laugh in the background. I'm like, this is fucked up. This is so fun, but I'm still having a horrific time.
Mhm.
And you had some sort of like Japanese knowledge of like something that was so horrifying but funny. I don't know what that was about, but
Oh, there's a lot of Japanese things I
Oh,
can name
absolutely.
that are
Yeah.
horrifying and funny.
Shit ton of Japanese spirits and demons that are...
Oh, I was just thinking anime.
Oh.
but that's like the kind of the crossroads that we were trying to get at. So like we love certain things, and we were just trying to basically make something that we would want to play.
So, we'll go from there. How about your inspirations?
My inspirations?
Inspirations for either game development or just things in your game that are designed certain ways.
A lot of things is actually stuff that I find horrifying because I really want to scare the player, and there's not a lot of things out there that do scare me, and it was one of those things that was put back when the Silent Hill movie was done. The director says, you can't make scary stuff, you gotta almost make it disturbing. I'm like, you fucking got that right.
Silent Hill 2 Pyramid Head Showdown.
God damn it.
My guilty pleasure.
But no, that's part of my art that I try to practice is getting that disturbing sense and trying to get under your skin, because the jump scares fucking piss me off. Like, I'm like, that's fucking retarded to me. But I really like the whole, like, when you're staring at it, the longer you stare, the more disturbing it gets, and it gets like under you. Like, I don't fucking want to look at this anymore, but you have to proceed on.
Like the blowflies and Fallout. Fuck those things. They're terrifying looking.
I'd say my inspirations, gaming in general, would be why I wanted to develop it. Like, I like games. I want to be able to tell stories with games. That's why I got into coding. But as far as like my style choice, big inspirations would be Mega Man Legends. I love you so much. Capcom.
No Mega Man Legends 3 for you, Gary.
We'll get to that in the next episode.
Skies of Arcadia, beautiful game, and like Sega, honestly, you could do a lot of terrible shit, and I would still love you just for that. And probably Legend of Zelda series.
Yeah.
Maybe Legend of Zelda series in the 90s and not so much Skyward Sword, but I digress. Especially the art and dungeon style of Mega Man Legends and Skies of Arcadia. I've often said Skies of Arcadia is like Mega Man Legends, but in the sky and you're a pirate.
Sure, yeah.
Sounds awesome.
They have the real narrow dungeons, and I mean, they're just, Mega Man Legends, they're just robots in the hallways, but they got like these ones that just skitter across, and they're fast, and they do a lot of damage. So as a kid, very narrow hallway, round a sharp corner, and there's just this trap swinging, and this little spidery robot would go and just bolt at me, and I would scream and run. I'm like, oh, I'm not dying in here. I just spent like 5 hours in the dungeon. I'm like, I had no idea where I was. I'm like, please don't kill me. But I really enjoy that kind of atmosphere, and I'd say that really affected my style when I developed stuff.
Sure. I probably should actually make mentions of games I actually are inspired by.
All right, what inspires you, Jerry?
So, I love anything that Valve does. I mean, I love the way they tell a story. I mean, just not by cutscenes or anything like that. And I know that's what we're trying to go for too, like trying to use a lot of their formulas, because we played them to hell, and we're like, this method works so well, and we just kind of want to recapture that feel. because I feel like, games like BioShock 2. I love BioShock. BioShock, like, I love those atmospheres. I love
The atmosphere, the color, how much color they can put in a game that's also very suspenseful.
like when I'm playing a game, I am looking at those models. I am looking at those details. I love picking apart those little like off-screen things in the background. I will sit there and I will look at stuff for a half hour. Like when I got Duke Nukem 64, I was comparing it for the PC version. I'm like looking at like all these still images of the gun, like the grenade launcher. I'm looking at all the grease particles. Like, look at that grease particle over there. How did they design that over there? Was that actually a paintbrush? Blah blah blah. Like, as a kid in middle school, I was still trying to figure that shit out. And now that I have all the tools, I'm like, I know how they do it, and I want to make it better, and I want to be as best I fucking can. I guess. I mean, I love shooters so much because I just love the action pace. I mean, as a lot of people know on my YouTube channel, I love stupid action. It'd be so unnecessary. It doesn't even have to have a purpose at all. And I love stuff like that. And it kind of our game is kind of putting it towards there. Like our storyline, we try to put a storyline to our game, and you're already looking at me, and we put too much storyline into it, and we're like,
Yeah.
we gotta pull some stuff back.
Real minimalistic is has actually been working well for us. Although, you do gotta have some.
You do, yeah. Obviously, you have to give the player some sort of substance to chew on, but we don't want to give them too much because the more like figuring out the story in their head, we have to give more of the player the actual credit that they actually fucking figure the shit out.
And going back to the fact that we want to do more of a horror theme, wise words by one of my college professors I had, that the scariest thing about horror is when you have no idea what's going on.
Yes.
You don't know the monster, they don't explain what's going on, and I think that's, you just have random stuff, you never explain it, it scares the shit out of you.
Yeah, the unexplained is scary. And we do have a lot of unexplained shit in our game.
I think an excellent example of what you guys are talking about was, if you haven't played it yet, the Five Nights at Freddy's series.
Yeah, I've seen them.
There's the story in the background that's never really explained, a lot like the story in Majora's Mask, which just gives it that creepier feeling because there's the story you make up in your head and kind of push in there yourself, and it actually kind of envelops you a little more in the game.
Absolutely.
I have spent years theorizing and just picking apart textures and models in Majora's Mask. I can't say I'm a huge fan of the re-release, I'll talk about that some other time, but
you told me that Majora's Mask was one of the other games that inspired you to take apart a game and
because
look
that
at
is
it
a
closer.
horror game, and I've picked it apart, and it's beautiful. You can, like, so many theories you can push out, and that's really what makes a game good, when you can take it and you build your own world and theory out of it.
All right, well, we'll do a little game here. We'll talk about the process. Okay, so I come to you guys, and I have an idea for a game.
Okay.
We're going to go with my standby gummy bear in the parking lot. All right? I want to make this game. What do we do? How do we start? Where do we go from there?
I would ask you specifically what mechanics you needed in that game.
It's a dating sim.
It's a dating
That's
sim.
pretty hot. If it's what I'm thinking.
It's a gummy bear in the parking lot, and you're talking with him.
You're talking with him? Alright, so I would ask you, I guess, what kind of art style do you prefer? Like, do you want like a cartoon style, a realistic kind of like photorealistic standpoint? How friendly do you want it? Do you want it to be kind of like more disturbing, or do you want it to be funny? Your
Right.
feels like we would basically just give you like you need to give us notes of what you're looking for.
All right, going from there, we'll assume you have notes because we're not going to sit here and write a game right now.
Sure.
We'll
Okay.
do-
Alright, then I guess I would start immediately on concept art, and I would go to my computer and start digitizing maybe some models, and going back and forth with Gary to see what works, what doesn't work. He gives me the feedback of what is working. Like, we had that one point with the NS project. One of the creatures was just not intimidating enough. His mouth was a little more closed, so I did more researches on other creatures in the animal kingdom who actually had the sharp jaws. So I remodeled it after that, so it looked more freakishly terrifying when he's charging at you.
From my standpoint, I would probably, first step would be select an actual game engine, or if you had a lot of money, I would start writing a game engine. A lot of money and a lot of time. But no, I'd pick a game engine, preferably one that was easy, but one that could, meet the needs of the game. And I mean, there's so many. And you gotta look at licenses and whatnot. Are you free to distribute, or do they cost money? Do you need to include them in the credits? There's really easy ones to develop with, like the RenP engine. If it was a dating sim, I'd probably suggest RenP, because it is ridiculously easy to write a dating sim with RenP. But I mean, you tell me you want a 3D action sequence in there, then suddenly we're going to have to go with a different engine, and
might have to go to Unity at that point.
yeah, and Unity I've actually been pretty happy with. It'd make me even happier if you would please put in like some kind of blood splatter or decal system. That's so hard to write. But and then I would, try to find a engine that had a code that I was familiar with. If not, I'd learn it, and then...
Gary's talented like that, bastard.
Well, I mean, once you learn one, they're pretty well similar, but then I'd start writing code and developing, and I try to leave little spaces for assets, and then I will communicate what I need to Jerry. Like, okay, I need these sprites, this one has to be animated, and then we go back and forth from there.
And it's like, yeah, give me size list, what if this works, and, different file formats, and I would give it back to him, and he'd say this is not working, and then I would try to re-edit as fast and efficiently as possible.
Alright, so we've got the game essentially made.
Yeah, we would have to make a build at that point.
What does that mean?
A build is basically kind of like you're exporting out the file. You're exporting out the file, and it's kind of like a finalized version. And then we kind of do like a beta test of it, like see if what's buggy, what's not buggy, what's working, and then we kind of make tweaks from there. Like, okay, this is crashing at this area when we enter this area, so we have to go back into the program and then re-edit it.
And testing is a whole other beast, and once again, that really depends on how much money you have. But I mean, generally, since we're a small indie company, testing is I'll Facebook message a couple friends, be like, "Hey, play this."
Yeah.
And send them the first level of NS, several times, and I'd be like, it'd be ranging from, "Hey, I legitimately need you to test this function, see if it runs on your computer," to, "Hey, you should play this one because he freaks out and starts flailing inside you." But that's really all we can do for testing. An optimal setting would be, 100 different computers of all varying sizes, and we would figure out system requirements and stuff. But at this point, we're small, so we have to kind of guess, like, you should probably have this much RAM, and if the game crashes, then oops, but...
Well, I done fucked, whatever.
Well, we're bringing up the cost of funding. Say this is my game idea. I'm giving you guys the money. For your idea, how are you guys getting money for this game?
We're not. Me and Gary both have side jobs, like actual full-time jobs. Gary's even going to school right now and has another internship. He works his ass off. I am totally done with school, and I am just working right now. And whenever I have free time, I go to my computer and I stare in front of it and I model or I design stuff. And then once in a while, I throw at Gary like what I'm working on. Like I always text him photos like, "This is what I got." And he's like, "That's really cool. Do this." I'm like, "All right, that's a good idea."
Have you guys ever thought of crowdfunding?
Yes.
We have. We actually have. We're not ready yet. We both from the beginning both agreed that if we want to do a crowdfunding, we want to make sure we have something really awesomely solid to show the public. We can't just do empty promises. We don't want to do empty promises.
You don't want to be Peter Malinex.
No, that's pretty much it. We don't want to be Peter Malinex. We said we want to do the first completed level for free.
Yeah, we definitely want to release a good, solid demo that's fun, really shows what we want to do with the game. Because then we want the sentiment to be, wow, we really enjoyed that, here's money for more. And not, like, this could be good, yeah, I'll see where it goes.
Because we've seen all those people online of, like, we want to do this game. They show concept art and maybe, like, a little prototype that they're working on. And we don't want that. We want actually the people to actually sit down, play the game that we have, and decide for themselves if they actually do like it.
It's got to be hard to have a dream and not be so excited that you just push yourself into that position.
Well, I've done that. And generally how my coding goes is I will just burn out. When I said I did that in 4 months, that was 4 months of, like, no sleep. Jerry would message me, and he'd be like, so can we do this? And I'm like, I spent 13 hours counting this bullshit already, Jerry, get off my back! And
he's like, alright, man, I'm sorry.
I'm, like, shaking, I got coffee, and I'm twitching. I happened to be with my parents at the time, and they're like, why don't you take a break and, well, you know, go out for dinner? And, no, I can't stop. You don't understand. If I stop and I wake up tomorrow, I will have no idea what I did. And sure enough, as soon as I take a break, I wake up and I look at that code and I'm like, I don't understand what I did. And then I would just kind of go into like a lull for an hour until I get motivated again.
I'm used to working on movies with Gary, like these little projects, and editing takes a long, long time, especially on adding special effects. Making a game is another horribly hard, tedious project where it takes a lot of time. Like, I thought filmmaking was long. No, I also did stop motion for a long time. This is just as fucking tedious and long. Because you do have to take your time, and you have to move back and forth with a group of people. It's just me and Gary, but even that is still fucking, I wouldn't say agonizing. I enjoy every moment I work with Gary, because he knows exactly where I stand with the project, and so I know him, and his humor is just great. So we just kind of try to perk ourselves up as much as we can.
I definitely enjoy it. It is my own personality flaw to burn myself out.
All right, so we've got the game past all of the beta testing.
Sure.
You've got something that's either completed or near completion. Where do you go from there?
I guess marketing, try to figure out how to sell the product. I mean, just want to throw it online. Try to, even buy Google ads if you really, really want. Make YouTube, Facebook. Just try to get the word out to sell your product.
What would you use to do that? Something like Project Greenlight?
Yeah, you could probably do that too. Like, you get that crowdsourced.
Yeah, we've actually talked about we would desperately like to get it on Steam. We really love you, Valve, and we can't stress it enough.
Yeah, we do love Valve, yeah.
Please take our game. But
we would also try to do co-developing. Like, if it became popular on the PC, we would want to maybe throw it on maybe at a home console where it even get more streamlined at that point. I mean, there's programs and forms you can sign up for through them, like, an application, like you're like applying for a job. It's the same thing.
it was actually part of the reason we picked Unity is it's real great about that where it's multi-platform. One of the options was even, what was that little game box that was...
Oh, that thing. You really were excited about it for one point?
Yeah.
Ouya?
The Ouya. I was
Ouya.
just so... I'm like, this is the next big thing. Oh my god, Jerry, we need to develop for this. And like...
You wanted to go to E3 to fucking test that shit out, but they were
was
just in a parking lot. Like, we can go, Jerry. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy fuck, I'm working, so are you?
I'm like, I'll quit. But no, I was ready to buy a development kit, and then it just died.
Yeah, it died almost instant on launch.
They still sell them, though.
Yeah, and the controller sucks, though, unfortunately, because it's such a good idea. I mean, it's an open source box for you and other developers.
Although, you know who I feel like is the spiritual successor to that?
What?
Steambox.
Steambox! Yay, Steambox.
I might
Well,
get one of the controllers. Otherwise, I don't need another PC, thank you.
yeah, I already have a baller PC, which I just spent a lot of money on, so I don't need a Steam box.
Well, speaking of that, why don't we go into what kind of software you guys use?
Software? Well, right now, like I said, we're using Unity. I dabble in Mudbox, ZBrush for modeling. I mean, those are fantastic programs if you have the time to just kind of sit down and work through them. I do some photo editing sometimes with Photoshop. Gary, what do you code in?
Yeah, I think you actually have to use a lot more applications than I do.
I do. I have a huge range of what I have to tweak.
Mine is Unity to see the stuff that actually shows up, and then it's just a text editor.
That's right, yeah. So, yeah, I use a lot of variations of Adobe products, Maya products, did I say Maya? I mean Autodesk. I'm very sorry. Maya is an Autodesk program. But, yeah, Autodesk make a lot of cool 3D modeling programs out there if you guys get your hands on those. I mean, if you're a student already, you guys can get, free trials for, 3 years. I mean, I used those for a long time. They really helped me out. I wish Adobe would do the same goddamn thing.
I think they do have some kind of discount program for students.
Yeah, we just have to pay $300 with Autodesk. It's free.
Oh,
because
I am a big fan of Autodesk. I've been using it since high school, and I will swear by them.
How about hardware? You guys have to have some pretty impressive rigs to be doing this.
No, my computer's a piece of crap.
What's so great about nowadays? You can be any sort of developer. You can have a POS computer, and it could be like just a single core. You can still do something on it. I mean, it's not going to be run really fast, but you're going to drag it. But
yeah, I mean, luckily, like I said, I need a text editor. Unity, to be honest, runs like shit on my computer. Sometimes it's on my little bar on the bottom. Sometimes I will accidentally click it, and I'm just like, no, please, no. And I come back like 45 minutes later. It's like, we launched Unity. Here's one model we loaded, and we crashed. And I'm like, I know it's not Unity's fault. It's my computer's outdated. But really, as a developer, they have a lot of tools to help you. But every college course I've taken, and even from personal experience, I can tell you that you really want to learn to develop just by writing code. You really should not need more than Notepad. They have some of the nicer programs like NetBeans or Eclipse, whatnot, that kind of stuff, where it's like, it shows you all your assets and your packages. But really, you just need a text editor. And so, you could have a Hewlett-Packard and still technically develop.
What kind of languages are you coding with?
Well, it really depends. I know C++, I know C#, Java, JavaScript, HTML5, PHP, CSS, although CSS and HTML aren't technically programming languages. But, what else was there? I know some Python.
ActionScript.
Lua. I do unfortunately know ActionScript.
Well, you're not making a Flash cartoon, so you should be okay.
I have made Flash cartoons.
Oh. Then you kind of know ActionScript.
Yes, and I hate it.
I've made Flash, but I don't know ActionScript.
That's
what Flash kind of runs on.
I know it does, but
if you use tweens, you've made an
I've
action.
made tweens.
There you go.
Tweens.
Oh, the fucking tweens.
We'll talk about that a different day. So how do you guys feel about the gaming industry today?
I feel it's very repetitive. It's very repetitive. The Call of Duty games and Madden games are all fine developed, not very polished games, but they're still fine. But I feel like I'm burnt. I think that's another inspiration why we started up together. We were tired of playing this fucking shit every day.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I really feel like the gaming industry at this point is just turning into a DLC cash grab. Even some of my favorite studios like Overkill started off great. Now they're starting to get into DLC cash grab, and I feel more and more companies are going that way. And that's definitely, one of our inspirations to get into this is to develop
something that
art. Something
we want to play.
New and fresh, and kind of rejuvenate the gaming industry. Not to say all of it's bad.
No. And we're not original either. Like I said, we're just...
Oh, I'd say it's pretty original.
But no, that's... The gaming industry, it's... I know the companies are doing what they can with the publisher notes and, all their notes that they're probably getting with all the investors and whatnot. It's a money-making business. It's like the movie business nowadays. You got a product, you got to push it out the door, you got to make sure it sells, you got to make money, you got to create jobs, economy, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
That's a good point. I feel like movies and the gaming industry are incredibly similar.
Oh, they're incredible, yeah.
With movies, everyone's gonna have a real good, big blockbuster by some major...
Yeah, AAA.
Yeah, whatever. But a lot of my favorite movies have been indie movies, and that's not to say all indie movies are good.
No. No, they're fucking not. No.
But I feel the same way about games. Publishers put out, a good game every now and then.
Yeah. But there's a lot of fantastic indie developers out there that I guess, just like technically speaking, Notch with Minecraft was an indie developer. It was just him, and then he just got his buddy on board, and they just kind of took off into outer space.
A lot of my favorite games recently have been either by indie developers or very small companies, and they've done a fantastic job.
Like a small game I've been playing recently on my 3DS was Whoa Dave. It's a very, very simple one-screen game, kind of captured by the same love from Atari, and I picked it up immediately, and it's just such just a fun, addicting little game, and I loved it to pieces, and I just it's a very small indie game, but it's I find it so charming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll close this up tonight with a hypothetical question. Your game comes out, it hits it big. What's the plan? Where are you guys going from here?
I'm gonna die in a bathtub full of money, sobbing into my knees. I've promised this to several people. I will make it happen.
We have a lot of other ideas that we've always wanted to do. I mean, Gary has this huge project that we promised that as soon as EdS is done, there's this other project that he's been thinking about for years. And this is kind of like his opus. And I looked at him when he told me this, and I'm like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'm like, that is so big, we need a team of people. If our game does be like, we will get the team of people and we'll try to make this game, but I don't even know how to fathom how to even wrap my head around doing that in that game.
Yeah, that definitely a much larger project, and it is, when I speak of inspiration from Mega Man Legends Skies of Arcadia, that is very inspired by those games where I'd like to call him a spiritual successor. I don't know if is that kosher with other, but I mean I love those games so much, and I'm just like, I need to take this feeling that I had while playing these, and I need to put it in another game so I continue to give more people that feeling.
Yeah, like I feel like games for me, it's I've always loved cinema, and I always like showing stories of these little action scenes, but games is another realm for me. I'm like, I can create these realities, and I can make people go inside and walk around these realities and experience the storyline at the same time. It could be like a side scroller, 3D, it doesn't matter. And I love the fact of that idea of like, I can create a whole world and people can walk around it with like technology coming out like Oculus Rift and whatnot, that you can be more immersed. I can't say that word. You smurfed.
You love movies so much.
Just
I have an idea for a new game.
What?
QuickTime Events the game.
Shut up.
Hate you.
It already exists. It's called Guitar Hero.
That's true.
Or Parappa the Rappa.
But just
Any advice to people who want to start developing?
Anybody can do it. It's like cooking. I mean, like that's from Ratatouille. Like anybody can cook. Anybody can make a game. I mean, there's simple programs out there nowadays that helps you along to make these simple Flash games or iOS games, and those are just stepping stones in the right direction. If you're really passionate about this, it is a lot of hard work. If you want these like crazy, intense games that you want to imagine, it's going to take a lot of your time, dedication, and life. But if you just want to make something simple right now, you can do that out the door. You're like, I'm just going online and picking up some sort of iOS kind of like Flappy Birds. Flappy Birds was exactly like that.
Oh, Android apps. Once you get the hang of it, so easy.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's a great place to start.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Gummy Bear in the parking lot this fall.
But if I were going to give advice, I would say, kids, the tech field is where the money's at. Don't sell it to Microsoft.
Coding is a lot of money. Art's not so much. I'm starving kids, even though I'm fat.
All right, well, we'll close it up with this, with that now. Why don't we go to our usual standby? What are we playing this week? Gary, you're the guest. Why don't we start with you?
Nothing I should be.
What are you playing?
Game where you beat up children.
That's a good game. Jerry, how about you? What are you playing this week?
Actually, my girlfriend and I just picked up one of the newer Pokemons. I got Pokemon Sapphire. So
Alpha Sapphire.
I got Alpha Sapphire. She got Omega Ruby. So we just started that up, and we're kind of enjoying it so far. It feels good.
Excellent games. I picked up after another Steam sale. God, I love Steam.
Who doesn't?
I picked up Alien Isolation. And I gotta say, even though I've never been a fan of the Alien franchise, Alien Isolation has made me one. It's the first survival horror game I've played in quite a long time where I actually felt the need to cover my eyes in real life. It really gives you that nightmare sense of not being fast enough, which just isn't done right these days with survival horror and suspense. So, I guess that's it for tonight. You guys have any closing Advice, closing statements, final thoughts. Fuck you, Capcom.
Oh, I do have some advice. Internships are great for portfolio builders, and they will not always be paid internships, and that is okay. But if you are going to be paid, always get it in writing.
Yeah.
That's good advice on anything. If you like what we're doing here at NullSpace, please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at NullSpace Gaming, and also our blog at nullspacegaming.blogspot.com. You can also show your support by donating via the PayPal links. Every donation is appreciated. Well, I guess that does it for us here at NullSpace. Jerry, send us out.
Happy gaming, everybody.